Wisdom, the final frontier to true knowledge. Welcome to Wisdom Trek, where our mission is to create a legacy of wisdom, to seek out discernment and insights, to boldly grow where few have chosen to grow before. Hello, my friend. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, your captain on our journey to increase wisdom and to create a living legacy. Thank you for joining us today as we explore wisdom on our second millennium of podcast. This is day 1006 of our trek, and it is Wisdom Wednesday. Creating a biblical worldview is important in order to have a proper perspective on today's current events. To establish a biblical worldview, it is required that we also have a proper understanding of God's Word. Especially in our Western cultures, we do not fully understand the Scriptures from the mindset and the culture of the authors. In order to help us all have a better understanding of some of the more obscure passages in God's Word, we are investing Wisdom Wednesdays reviewing a series of essays from one of today's most prominent Hebrew scholars, Dr. Micheal S. Heiser. He has compiled these essays into a book titled, I Dare You Not to Bore Me with the Bible. Many religious systems believe that our souls can be reincarnated into another body, and some of these groups are even Christian sects. Today's essay lets explore born again, and again, and again. Would Jesus be open to the idea of reincarnation? The question may seem odd, but it is one that many people, including some biblical scholars, contend has a positive answer. The idea comes from a passage that you might have read dozens of times. This is found in John chapter 9, verses 1 through 4. As Jesus was walking along, he saw a man who had been blind from birth. Rabbi, his disciples asked him, why was this man born blind? Was it because of his own sins or his parents' sins? It was not because of his sins or his parents' sins, Jesus answered. This happened so the power of God could be seen in him. We must quickly carry out the task assigned us by the one who sent us. The night is coming, and then no one can work. Notice the disciples' question. Rabbi, his disciples asked him, why was this man born blind? Was it because of his own sin or his parents' sin? Many presume the question indicates that the disciples believed that the man born blind really could have sinned before he was born, and that his pre-birth sins caused his congenital blindness. This presumption is followed by another, that Jesus' answer wasn't categorically denied. Since Jesus doesn't come out and say, what a silly idea, don't be ridiculous. Some have argued that his response means that, in this case, the man born blind didn't sin in a previous life, but perhaps could have happened in another case. Could this interpretation be correct? Reincarnation is the belief that the soul migrates from one body to another, to a different body, in a long, possibly endless succession. The idea of the migration of the soul cannot be found in the Bible or in any other Jewish writers of antiquity, which indicates that the disciples were likely presuming something different, which may have been people can do good or evil while still inside the womb. Paul addresses this misconception in Romans chapter 9, verses 9 through 13, when dealing with the case of Jacob and Esau. Even if a preborn person could sin in the womb, this does not involve the migration of the soul. And here's this passage. For God had promised, I will return this time next year, and Sarah will have a son. This son was our ancestor Isaac. He married Rebekah, and she gave birth to twins. But before they were born, before they had done anything good or bad, she received a message from God. This message shows that God chooses people according to his own purpose. He calls people, but not according to their good or bad works. She was told, your older son will serve your younger son. In the words of the Scriptures, I have loved Jacob, but I have rejected Esau. In Matthew chapter 16, verse 13, there were some people who suggested that Jesus was John the Baptist, or Elijah, or one of the Old Testament prophets. This verse is also no help for those who want to see reincarnation in John chapter 9, verses 3 and 4. Jesus and John were contemporaries. They were born 6 months apart. This story can be found in Luke chapter 1, verses 8 through 36. Thus John's souls could not have migrated into Jesus' body. Elijah never died, 2 Kings chapter 2, verses 1 through 17, and so the migration of his soul is also not possible. If Jesus were one of the prophets who had come back to life, then that prophet would have been resurrected, not the prophet's soul into another body. There are other more technical flaws with this interpretation of John chapter 9, but from this examination alone, it should be apparent that the idea that Jesus is approving of one being born again into another physical body is dead again. And that will conclude our essay for this week. Next Wisdom Wednesday, we will continue in the New Testament as we look at Dr. Heiser's next essay titled, The Great Wizard Meets Philip and Peter. I believe that you'll find this another interesting topic to consider as we build our biblical worldview. Tomorrow, we will continue with our 3-minute humor nugget that will provide you with a bit of cheer, which will help you to lighten up and live a rich and satisfying life. So encourage your friends and family to join us and then come along with us tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, Creating a Legacy. If you'd like to listen to any of the past 1005 treks or read the Wisdom Journals, they are all available on wisdom-trek.com. And I encourage you to subscribe to Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts so that each day's trek will be downloaded to you automatically. And thank you so much for allowing me to be your guide, your mentor, but most importantly, I am your friend as I serve you through the Wisdom Trek podcast and journal. And as we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, and then leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and then create a great day every day. See you tomorrow.